What's up, everybody? Welcome to State of the Realms, your weekly newscast for Camelot Unchained. I am your host, Swiper, and today I want to go over the weekly wrap-up for 6/14/2019. If you're new to my channel, typically I go over some of the top 10-ish items they have, and I'll go over some of my favorite questions. So, without further ado, let's get started. Alright, starting with number 1, work in progress, tech, art, and bug squash. This week, the team has been focusing on wrapping up the previous 3 weeks of productive work and addressing the bugs. This includes class abilities, NPC optimizations, and other things regarding Visual Studio 2019, so pretty straightforward. Okay, moving on to number 2, tech, UI, updated damage numbers. So, some of the UI changes are going into review this week. This includes damage numbers and damage type icons and some other UI changes. So, overall, it sounds like the UI will be getting some more improvements, which is awesome. Alright, number 3, work in progress. Art, tech, battering rams. So, currently, players can deploy, interact, and move battering rams. This is not in the current test as of right now, so I'm assuming this is in some kind of IT build. I also know that they're working on the skeleton for the battering ram. So once the skeleton is completed, I believe players will actually be able to attack with it. So for now, it sounds like players can attach themselves to these rams and move them, but that's about it. Alright, moving on to number 4. Tech and doors. So yeah, we've been talking about this almost every week, and it sounds like they're getting further and further with these doors. So the initial code for single doors has been completed. Up next is the support for double doors. So once the large door is completed, they will add it to the Cherry Keep. So I'm hoping we see this within the next couple weeks. They didn't tell us it's going to be in next week or the week after, but I gotta imagine we're going to see this pretty soon. All right, and for the last one, art and animations. So it sounds like a lot of the animations were completed this week. The attack, walk, and run locomotion for the great sword animation has been completed. Also for the Lucrapan, the one-handed weapon, the one hand without a weapon, casting and torch variations are in the game. Now, I'm assuming these are in the IT build because I don't recall seeing these, but on the screen you'll see some pictures of what I'm talking about. And next up will be the longbow and the short bow generic use attack animation. So I assume this means that when you use the bow, like use an ability, you'll have some generic animation that will kind of go through across all the abilities. So this is pretty cool. All right, so let's move on to the question and answer section. So for the first question, the person asking this actually had a lot of questions built into one, but I thought it was really important because it's going to give a good idea of what CU is going to do when it comes to meta and classes. So let me break down the question. Will CU intervene when it comes to the meta, or will CU just leave it alone? There was also a question about stagnation and what CU will do to prevent this. So one thing CU does not want is stagnation. Meaning if you create a mage class and want to join a party and that party says, well, hey, if you don't have this specific build, dude, there's no way you're getting in, so go ahead and change your build or you're not going to get invited. That is the last thing they want. What they want in this game, like I said before, and like they've said many times, is going to be like a rock, paper, scissors game. So if you have one mage type that's really strong against a couple things, there's always going to be something that counters that. So therefore, if this is how the game is going to work out, then therefore there really technically won't be a meta in a sense, because everything will counter each other. So this isn't to say that classes are not going to have a specialty, right? Every class is going to have a specialty, and I think we know that, right? All the classes, they're not going to be mirrored per realm. Everything's going to be a bit different, but I do think there's going to be some kind of meta, but I don't think it's going to be a meta which requires straight up cookie cutter builds, and I think that's exactly what they're trying to avoid. They're trying to allow your choice to be impactful and meaningful, and therefore you can get into a group because you might be weak against one class, but you'll be strong against another. So overall, I think this is what's going to keep this game from getting stagnant, but it's really going to depend on how they balance these classes. All right, question number 2. How will players interact with doors in this game? So basically, there's going to be two kinds of doors, right? There's going to be a door that you can physically interact with, meaning you either left click it or you flip a lever and it opens the doors. They didn't say specifically how we're going to interact with it, but just from prior games like Dark Age and, Elder Scrolls Online, that's how one type of door is going to work. The second type of door is going to be more like a portal type of deal. So I'm sure you've seen this. I think Dark Age had it, and I think ESO actually has it as well. It's one of those like those postern doors, like those side doors. So basically you walk up to it and you might have to like click on it or something, but you'll go right through it instantly. Like the door doesn't have to physically open and it's not going to block you. Like, you know what I mean? So it sounds like with the postern door, you're going to have like a limitation. So you're not just going to be able to jump in and out while you're in combat and things like that, because that would just be cheating. Like you could walk out, throw a ball at somebody, then walk back in. Like that's just crazy. So I know they're going to put some balance around that. And obviously with the first door, you're going to have to be very mindful of when you want to open and close it, because if you open it, enemies can obviously run through. So those are going to be the two main doors that they talked about. All right, question number 3. What will CU do to prevent realm spying? So if you don't know what I mean by realm spying, let's say you make a Viking and you want to see what the Arthurians are up to. You could simply log off, create an Arthurian, run around and see where all their units are, and then log back in as a Viking and say, hey, this is where I see them. So one thing that CU is going to do is when you create a character on a specific server, so let's say server X, let's say you create a Viking, you're not going to be allowed to make any other type of character on any other realm. So you're going to be a Viking on that realm. So this way you can't cheat and make another character and then log in and log out. Now, there's always going to be loopholes, right? Technically, you could buy the game twice, use 2 different credit cards, and have 2 different accounts. Or you could have a friend that has a different character, a different server. There's always ways around this, but overall I think that's going to be their number one choice that they're going to do. Now obviously there's going to be GMs or CSRs or whatever, so if you report something, they'll look into it and they'll do what they can. But overall, when you think of these types of things, hopefully players are just being real and legitimate and they're not trying to cheat, but they can only do so much. But at least I like this idea. I always hated that when you joined a server. I always hated when games let you make characters on all different realms. It just kind of ruined the immersion for me. And it was like, what's the point? I hated when one realm would dominate another realm and people would just be like, okay, I'm going to switch over to the realm that's dominating, then switch over back. And I just hated it. So hopefully this will be a very good deterrent. All right, question number 4. What will the next big presentation be about? Will it be about sieging, crafting classes, support classes, or the world map? So first, I want to preference that they don't have any of these suggested items scheduled. Nothing is scheduled for them to make a big presentation. Now, what they did say was they think it could be siege engines, but nothing scheduled. So don't take that as, okay, yeah, they're doing sieges next. They also said that they do release a lot of content and they don't do presentations about it. And what they did say is that if anybody that's listening or that's following this game wants them to present about a specific topic, it's something that they could do, so just let them know. All right, and for the final question, how strict will the siege rules be when operating a multi-person siege engine? So let's use the battering ram as an example. I think they want 6 people operating this. So I think what the question was really asking was like, hey, can 2 people operate this? Can 4 people operate this? And if 4 people can operate something like this, will it be less effective if 6 people were to be operating this? So they had a couple ideas here, and I don't know if this is going to be like truth in stone here, but let's go over what they said. So they want to do somewhat of a hybrid system, meaning that there will be a minimum that how many people can jump on to a siege engine. So maybe 3 people could move a ram, right? But it's going to be also based off either the strength or the mass of your characters. So for example, let's say one character has a much higher mass than say another character. Well, that character with more mass is going to have like more pull, essentially, more force to push this thing. And what they did say was when it comes to siege engines, they're probably going to put a cap on that. So if you're hitting that cap with 3 people, maybe you'll be just as effective with 6 people that are also hitting that cap. But I think overall, nothing is set in stone. I didn't really get a good indication of what it's truly going to be as of right now. So let's just wait and see what happens, but it sounds pretty interesting. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for me today. I apologize if this cast was a bit more somber than others. I had a really fun but very busy weekend, and I'm pretty tired today, but I really wanted to get this video out to stay consistent. I also tried to spend as much time as I could on testing. So if you are unaware or you're not backing this game yet, they did testing on this past Friday and this Sunday, which is today. But when you're listening, it's probably a different day. But anyway, if you are interested in this game and you'd like to be part of the testing, make sure to check out the store in Camelot Unchained. I'll put it in the description below so you can check it out. You can purchase a game, like you can basically purchase like I think it's like a beta level or an alpha level at this point. So certain tests will say, hey, alphas can come in, or betas and alphas can come in. So check it out. But just remember that this game isn't up 24/7. So when they test, they usually let us know through like Twitter, or they send out a mass email to all the backers. So you'll know. And they also usually tell us in the weekly wrap up. So when they're like basically finishing up, they'll say, hey, we're testing either today or Saturday or something. So they let you know in advance. But anyway, if you guys like this video, please hit that thumbs up. And if you want weekly updates regarding Camelot Unchained, please hit that subscribe button. I plan on doing State of the Realms up until launch, and no, we still don't have a launch date. So I hope all the fathers out there had a great Father's Day, and I will talk to you all next week.